Greetings, everybody. This is Brother Elias. Another Sunday of Greenhouse Conversation. Today, I'm gonna talk about the existence of the gods of Earth, like Yahweh, the Jesus, the Allahs, and things like that. Well, today's book is the Lost Book of Enki by Zechariah Sitchin, author of the 12th Planet. I'm not going to read from that book today. I'm just going to tell a little story. It's an ancient story. And once upon a time, it was this guy, a smart, intelligent guy named Lewis. He was one of those guys that lived, place to place. He didn't have a stable place to live. He did, but he really didn't want to. So one day he was real hungry, and he saw a little village, and he knew the villagers and things like that had a lot of food or something that he needed at the time. So Lawis walked over to this village, and while he was walking, the sky was getting real dark. So this village have, of course, its local king and things like that, and they started to cry and they started to pray because the sky and everything within the sky was getting real dark. And Lewis told the king, said, "I'm hungry, I need something to eat." And the ruler was irritated by that statement. And he kind of, was going to push Lewis to the side, if you will. Lewis told the king, said, "I know the magic. I know how to make the sky or make the sun come back again." Now remember, during this time, the people was on the ground praying and crying, and they were very afraid. So the king says, "If you can bring the sun back, if you could bring the sky back to light, you can have anything you want for as long as you want." So after that, the king went back to praying and crying among his people. Lawis said some magic words, or basically he said anything that he wanted or that he made up. So about 20 minutes later, they noticed that the sun started to come back in the sky, was starting to show light again. And then when everything was done, the king was so amazed of Lawis's power. So he gave Lawis whatever he wanted. And basically that's a short version of that story. See, Lawis was a very intelligent guy. He studied the stars, he studied nature. But the people who had the substance didn't. So if you want to know what was going on with the sky, it was a solar eclipse. Lawis knew it was a solar eclipse, but the root and the people in that village did not know. So Lawis used his power, meaning that his knowledge via observation and reading, to know that it was just a solar eclipse. So basically, when you look at the gods, when you listen to religion, that it mainly focuses on the ignorance of people. So when you listen to the things of Yahweh or Jehovah or Jesus or Allah in these books, people are mainly ignorant. See, there's something about nature and knowledge. When you have nature and knowledge, there's a power there. So faith is a good thing and belief is a good thing, but the fact of the matter of this subject is that these things really do not exist within creation. Everybody know that creation created gods and not gods created creation. And another thing is, do not try to jump on this platform unless you qualified yourself, because again, there are rulers that have power. You understand? So they are things out there that consider themselves Allah, or to consider themselves Jesus, angels, or what have you, and Yahweh. Just look at it this way: you can look at a person that had that manage chickens, that grow chickens and sell chickens. Now you and I can drive right down the street and see the chicken farm, the factory, but the chickens on the inside cannot comprehend, those who were born in that place cannot comprehend the outside world. So yes, the owner is like a god, because the owner have the ability to take one of those chickens and put it in a better area, give it special foods and things like that to make the chicken happy as long as it is alive. So you got these brothers and sisters, I like to say, that use their knowledge over the ignorant human beings, and they like to use it to get their way because it's a benefit. Just look at how a lot of humans eat chicken. So it's as a financial gain, that finances can give that owner a better life, car and nice bank account, do anything, travel the world. So these quote unquote gods have groups and things like that. They have a source, so they need to tell us these rules in order so they can enjoy themselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. But these gods are not, as you know, they are not the creation itself. They are limited. They are very extremely limited. So when you read the Bible, the Quran, or these other religious scriptures, basically they are talking about the evolution of man, or man and woman. Just look at the Old Testament. The Old Testament reminds you of a baby. Stingy, very argumentative, and it does a lot of things that doesn't make sense to a mature adult. And the New Testament is more like an adult, or you're a young adult. So that's all it is. Even when you read the Quran, it gives a dualistic nature. It tells you to do something bad, and next thing you know, do something good. So it's like an evolutionary process. And you can check a lot of the ancient religions. That doesn't make them creation, like the person that owned the chickens. That being cannot create the soul. And yes, you do have entities that know how to manage souls, or that know how to bring or formulate certain energies to create a soul, but they still had to learn it. It was given to them via observation and documentation and study. So again, all these gods are not creation. You have never heard a person come back from death to tell the individual that they talked to the Yahwehs or the Allahs or the Jesuses or what have you. Because when you listen to people who had near-death experiences, they talk about they saw Jesus of what was prescribed to their culture. It wasn't a universal. It wasn't a concept like near-death experience itself. When you listen to people who had near-death experiences, there is a common thread among the concept or the experience, like the feeling of love, and some have dark feelings and things like that. So when they do see an angel or a Michael, or they see a Jesus, is according to their local concept. So again, it's very genetic, because we know genetics have or DNA have memory. Give you an example. I have never lived in the South, and when I moved to the South, I remember seeing a Confederate flag for no reason at all. I felt a certain way because somewhere it was embedded in my flesh and not my existence. Because there is a difference between your existence and your flesh. The flesh is a program. You can manipulate it on all types of levels. As we can see, human beings are getting taller on earth. But again, we're talking about the gods. These gods are very powerful, just like the owner of the chicken farm is powerful for them, but it doesn't have power over existence. You do have things that can or have the ability to deal with planets and moons and stars, and some have the ability to grow them, but they're still just observational beings that just learn the process of their environmental area in existence. That doesn't make them the absolute, even though they are a part of the absolute internally or some other location, if you will. So mind you, when you have people with different religions, we must just respect and love their perspective, their I would say abusive form in the beginning, and at the end of the chapters they're more angelic and self-loving, like a grandmother. So when you listen to people who have grandmothers or grandparents or the idea of such, they treat their grandchildren a little different than they treated their children. They're more giving, they're less the wise of them. They're like free spirit. Here, baby, have this. Here, baby. So when we read Jesus in the New Testament, oh, don't worry about drinking. It'll be okay. Don't worry about that. That's all the scriptures are. But again, if you're at your local understanding, it's okay. I have studied a long time. I have observed things a long time. So I'm not here to try to disprove something for you. But we are in an age of more information. So again, please love yourself. Love your religion. Try your best to practice your religion. But just in this time, just be a little careful in judging other people's religion, because some of us can really make your religion look very foolish. And that's not the point, to make someone's faith look foolish, because faith is such an honorable thing to have in a time of doubt. Like if you have two people driving, I'll always use this example all the time. One person is a master mechanic. They've been a master mechanic for a long time. And the other person on the freeway driving, they just an everyday person. They may be an office person, or they may be a cardiac surgeon, or a neurosurgeon, or astrophysicist, if you will, So if the car start acting up and breaking down, one of them will definitely run to their cell phone, and the other one will just go to their trunk and just fix it. So all I'm saying, the best thing that we can do is to have patience and to require knowledge, and allow this knowledge to enable us to live a loving and extensive life. And that's another factor about this existence. Human beings don't really live long enough to really have the wisdom of these ancient scriptures, because there's certain things that a 24-year-old person that would not be able to understand that an 80-year-old person, or that same person who's 24 trying to communicate to a 13-year-old child or a teenager. So a lot of things about this life is according to evolving, is according to growing. And that process is free. Existence allows you to do whatever you want. Like the person that owns the chicken farm. He can just destroy the entire plant with the chickens in it. Nature will not do anything about it. You may have protests with his brothers and sisters of like minds. Many other human beings can protest against his actions. But the actions was done. Nothing stopped the fire. Nothing stopped these things. You see? So again, just be careful on trying to destroy your fellow human beings on their development. Especially when it comes to Yahweh and Jesus and all these characters that was written in history. These characters are metaphors and principles, because none of these gods that you pray to and beat your brothers and sisters over the head with cannot change nature. They learn nature and stamp their names on it. Like you can say Ford. Ford learned the concept to create the vehicle. Ford is dead and gone. The Wright brothers and all these people, they are gone because of laws. So yes, Allah may stamp his or her name on a principle that been in existence since existence itself. So the blessing about that is love your brothers and sisters and appreciate their level. And whatever circle that you gravitated towards, love it and enjoy it for that moment. Because again, the older you become in your wisdom and your spiritual development, you will not need that anymore because you spent your time dealing with it. So I hope I was clear and I could talk about the subject. And this subject is a very extensive subject. So please pardon me, if you will, if I didn't go into more detail. But you get the examples I gave should be enough. Yahweh, Allah, and all these people, according to this planet have natural laws, and they just stamp their name on natural laws. They have looked at natural occurrences. So if you do certain things, like say for instance, if you continue to exercise, you will get stronger. So I can say my name is God Elias, and if you do this, you will get strength. So I'll burn up all the books and I keep my book and pass it down to a certain generations and stuff. They keep reading stuff, say, oh, the God Elias will make you stronger. However, you must do these things. Like Jesus says, I am the way, but however, pick up your cross, and gave you certain universal principles. So again, love yourself, peace and blessings, and honor existence and honor the things. And look at my lovely herbs. Of course, you know, I have to eat my lovely herbs for my little Bob Ross show. And I had a lemon balm mint already. So beloved, life is short, but it's a blessing to be a human being, because we have the abilities to experience the little things differently from our planted brothers and sisters. Alright, so remember this little fun book, The Lost Book of Enki. It's pretty old, it's pretty fun, very entertaining. Okay, peace and blessings, and this is Brother Elias on another Sunday on his Greenhouse Talk. Thank you very much for honoring me with your time.